Well, John, back to Accrington Stanley this weekend. You spent many a year there. Have you managed against Accrington before?
Yeah, we did when we went back with Rochdale. We managed to win that game. But it was touch and go to the end. I think we won 3-2. But you know, people will make a lot of it because of it. But you know, I've got lots of friends there. Myself and Jimmy had an unbelievable time there. But our focus is on Gillingham now. And, you know, people are saying, "Oh, well, you must be desperate to win," and that's not the case. I'm desperate to win just because I want to win every game I play. It doesn't matter who we're playing. And the people that apart from the next game, and it might sound a bit cheerless and I'm trying to play it down, but that's the fact. That is a fact. I think I said this earlier on when I first came. You can't want to win more than 100%, and I want to win 100% every single time I play. Everything I play. And we were just having a little bit of mess about the cricket this morning with Del and Pete, and I'm desperate to try and bowl them out. So, and you've got to have that mentality. And so, yeah, you know, it'd be nice to see, you know, a lot of people who I know and good friends. But at the end of the day, it's the job in hand, which is trying to win a game of football, which we haven't done enough of this season.
Have you noticed a spring in the step of the players since Saturday, or are they fairly consistent in terms of emotion?
Well, myself personally, I try not to get too high or too low. And so, you know, we had a look at areas that we did well on Saturday and areas that we can improve on. And then the focus then shifted to the Accrington game, and you know, they've had a terrific win during the week. To win 5-0 against anybody in this league is, you know, a really good achievement. And you know, they'll be going into the game full of confidence, so we'll have to be mindful of the threats that they pose, and we've got to try and come up with some threats ourselves.
Lovely. John, appreciate that. Thank you. Matt?
Just looking at Saturday, I mean, it felt like it clicked. You could see the tactical plan you had with the back three, etc. But is that perhaps overstating that because it's the win and you sort of ignore the margins?
You know yourself, you've seen enough of our games. They're all based on fine margins, or they have since I've been here, apart from maybe the Barrow and the Newport games where I don't think we defended anywhere near like we can. But I was pleased that the way that we set out and the way we thought the game would pan out did pan out, and we planned for every eventuality. And then I knew that we were just waiting on the bounce of the ball for us that we hadn't had any of this season, or since I've been here, sorry. And thankfully it fell our way, and you know, that shot that Connor hit, it's gone through someone's legs on the line. Now, how many of them have hit people on the line since I've been here is off the graph. So I think we were due a little bit of that. But I think on the balance of the play, I thought we asked more questions. I thought we looked very well organised, and we stuck to the game plan really well. So I don't think anyone can begrudge us the win. But it's only another win. It's only 2 wins, and that's a very, very poor return. And you know, I won't move away from that. I'm not somebody who wants to sign paper over cracks or mass things. You know, I like to think that I'm respected for being honest. And 2 wins isn't good enough in my opinion. Although the performances have dramatically improved, we've got to turn them into wins, and we've got to find a way to turn them into wins.
You detected an increase in mood. You talked about progress, incremental progress, you know, on the pitch and performances, but I know that's important to players. Obviously it's important to anybody in football, isn't it, to win games? So. Yeah,
no, it's difficult, you know, because I think there's been an increase in appetite over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Now, people could say I'm labelling that the previous manager's gone, and you couldn't be further from the truth. You know, the people behind that are the players. And you live and die by your players. You know, you're only as good as your players. And any manager who thinks that it's all about them, they're kidding themselves. You know, if you get good players, you've got a good chance of winning games. It doesn't always pan out. You know, you have to have a spirit, you have to have an organisation, you have to have a way of playing that they have to buy into as well. But at the end of the day, they've got to be good enough to adapt to whatever happens on the pitch, and they've got to be good enough to carry out basic instructions. Now, you'd be surprised how many professional footballers, I'm not just saying that people here, I'm going across the whole board, you'd be surprised how many professional footballers don't pick up the basics, i.e. the basics in defending, the basics in attacking, and you have to keep reminding them, and sometimes you have to do a lot of repetition. I know we've got good players here that weren't performing for whatever reason that is. I think the one thing that the fans can say that they are pleased about, I know they'd be upset with the results, but they are pleased that there is an upturn in what is perceived work rate, and perceived passion, and perceived care. And I think if you can show that to the fans, I think they'll forgive a lot. Thankfully we're doing that now, but I don't want forgiveness. I want them to be, part of wins. And it just hasn't been enough for them. And, it's something I'm not used to, but it's something that I want to put right.
And understandably, people are looking at the table, the gap back to 12 points with the bottom two, but I know you're more ambitious than that. You talked about progress with the side. What do you want? What levels do you set now until the end of the season?
Well, I'm not one for setting targets unless the specific targets earlier on in the season and the measurable and the realistic and the achievable. But start talking all business speak there now, man, with the smart objectives and all that. But they have to be very much achievable. And so we've got no targets other than the next game. And I think the position that we're in now, I think that's the only thing we can focus on. I know other managers, cut it down to blocks of 5 games or 10 games or whatever. But, we're only focusing on the next game. And if we get continued improvement, I think there's a chance we can win, an acceptable amount of games before the end of the season. If we don't get that improvement and we regress, then we're in for a battle. And so we want to avoid that at all costs.
And of course that next game is against Accrington, and you'll know that the noise around this will be, and understandably the amount of time you spent there. I mean, would it be an emotional occasion going back for you?
Yeah, it will, to be honest. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm also not going to lie, I'm not looking forward to it. Because I think it can take the focus off the game, and I don't want the focus to be taken off the game. And I did have an unbelievable time. Myself and Jimmy had an unbelievable time there, and miles more good times than bad times. But we did have bad times along the way, and I think that's what makes the good times good or better. And the club, from when we first went there, the club is in miles better shape, and that's down to a lot of hard work by a lot of people, not just myself and Jimmy. Obviously, we were managing when we got all the promotions, but there was lots of people who behind the scenes, who've worked so hard to keep the club afloat, put their hard-earned money in or their hard-earned times. And the new chairman's come in and took it to another level, Andy Holt, and he's got the infrastructure of the club right. He spent wisely with the players that we sold. Got the ground and the pitch, which is remarkable for League Two, probably one of the best pitches in League Two. So he's done the right things. He got the right ducks in a row, and the plan for Accrington would be to kick on. But they have got a good infrastructure, a good ground, a welcoming ground. That is, it's a good place to go. It's just something I'm not looking forward to for different emotions, but it's something that you got to do.
I guess sentimentality goes out the window when you look at their previous result, 5-0 win, and they won here as well, so a dangerous
it does, and I wasn't here for when they won here, but the players were, and they should be smart enough for that. I know myself as a player, whenever I went to a place that we'd lost at home, I was like a rabid dog trying to win the game. Not that I'm never like a rabid dog when I want to win a game. And so, yeah, there can be all sorts of facets how the game gets built up. At the end of the day, we've got to do do as good a job as we can. We've got to play as well as we can. We've got to play to the levels that we've set ourselves.
Oh, another one to the possible build-up. First away win for you, how much would that mean?
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter that it's at Accrington. You know, we've been unlucky in the past, notably Wolves or Carlisle, to name but two, Grimsby. So we've been unlucky in the past. But it's no point moaning about your luck. You've got to get down, and I have been through horrendous runs away from home. And it's something you just can't put your finger on. You try and change everything. You try and change the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you travel. You do 101 things, and at the end of the day, it's how your 11 players perform on the day. And we've got to get our players as up for as we can. And to get the away win that our travelling fans deserve. You know, there's no one deserve it more than them. The numbers that they bring.
And just one little bit of housekeeping. I know there's some injuries still in the squad. Ethan Coleman.
Yeah, Ethan. I think Ethan and Ewan have been training on the grass. I think this week. Ewan definitely has. I'm not sure about Ethan. But it's just, you know, we'll have to wait and see on them. And Asher is in the hands of Palace, so we'll know more about him in the next week or so, I'd imagine.
And Marcus Wiley, is he?
Marcus is fit now. Marcus is fit, yeah. So, you know, we've got good competition now. You know, Jacob Wakeland's looked, you know, lively in training as well. So we've got good competition now for forward area.
And Josh Andrews' rehab continue again?
Yeah, I forgot about Josh. You know, I'd be surprised if I saw Josh before the end of the season.
Thanks, John. Good luck, Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
You mentioned Jacob Wiley, Jacob Wakeland looking lively. You expecting to maybe see a bit more of him?
I'd like to, yeah. You know, he's been unlucky really. Scored a few goals early on in the season, and then, you know, for whatever reason he hasn't played. But you can't play everyone, you know, and I think that's one of the trials and tribulations of a manager when you've got a lot to pick from, is that you have to disappoint people. Go back to the song I've always referenced, Fleetwood Mac, players only love you when they're playing. And there's never a true word spoken. But you know, you've got to get them to understand that it's not impersonal. You know, we pick what we feel is right for the day. That might change the week after or the week after that. You've got to be ready to take your opportunity. And if you look at, you know, Max Clark is the poster boy for that.
Yeah.
He was ready to take his chance, and he has took his chance.
And we saw you freshened the squad, the bench from after the weekend, and we saw Johnny Williams coming off, and he was showing he was all for it as well.
Yeah, Johnny's a great lad, great character around the dressing room, great on the training ground. You know, obviously went through the injuries that he has, but you know, he's experienced. I think when he come on, he managed the game really well. Got us up the pitch, got us out of danger, won us a corner and a couple of throw-ins that keeps the ball in the other team's half and lets you see out the win more comfortably than what it would be if we didn't have someone of that character.
And Nelson came on as well. We haven't seen too much of him. What have you sort of made of him?
Yeah, Nelson's just settling down now. Nelson's a good player. And I think he's definitely one for the future, but Nelson's a talented boy. He needs to get a little bit sharper. But I think we'll probably see the best of Nelson. Although I hope to see a lot of him this season before the season's out. I think we will see the best of Nelson next season.
You mentioned your last visit to Accrington with different teams, Rochdale, I think, scored within about 30 seconds, didn't you?
That's right, yeah.
That one.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to score early on anyway, because I can't remember us doing it since I've been here. But you know, I think the game will be quite cagey. Both teams will be feeling each other out, and you know, they had the beauty of scoring early on against Newport, similar to what Newport did to us. And when you back it up with another goal, more or less takes the game away from the opposition into 20 minutes. So we've got to make sure we're in the game after 20 minutes.
And I know you don't want it to be about you and going back and stuff like that. What's the sort of reception you expect?
I think I'll get a good one from the fans. I don't think. Obviously, there'll be a few fans who are glad to see the back of me, and Jimmy. But you know what? I still speak to some of the fans as well. So, and I've got a good relationship with them, and it'll be good to see them.
chairman, Andy Holt, you mentioned him earlier, you sort of had much contact with him since?
No, I haven't spoken to Andy Holt. But you know, people will ask me about you know, losing my job there. I've got no problem with that. You know, someone who puts a lot of money into a football club deserves the right to make the decisions that he has to make. And sometimes the ones he makes aren't the popular ones, and they're probably the hardest ones. But I've got no problem. The people whoever pays the piper calls the tune, and so they've got the prerogative to call whatever tune they want.
You mentioned on Saturdays what the chat about with Brad and stuff like that. Do you have a lot of conversations with him? I know he's obviously an American.
Yeah, it'd be nice to meet him in person. That's, you know, and obviously he's doing his job. That's, you know, funding this club. And so yeah, you know, don't forget Shannon's and all that as well. And you know, Shannon's been quite hands-on on it, and I think she's got a handle on how we operate. And so it'd be nice to meet Brad in person.
When are you expecting that to happen? Is he over?
Hopefully soon. I don't know. I'm not responsible for the schedule, and so you know, I think he'll come over when he feels it's the right time.
From your chats, do you think he gets your sort of point of view of how things are going?
I think he gets my mentality. Yeah, I think he understands what I'm trying to do, and he understands the difficulty of it as well. But you know, I'm a big boy. I was under no illusions when I came here. And I'm certainly under no illusions now. And I'm not going to moan and say, oh, it's this and that's wrong. You know, it's whatever is wrong, it's up to me to fix it.
2 wins out of 3, you can look at it like that. Certainly something to build on now.
Yeah, well, you can, yeah. You know, you can look at it a few ways. You can look at it 4 clean sheets out of 6. But, you know, it's just the next game. And, you know, the age-old saying in it, 85% of stats are made up. So, you know, you can take whatever you want. Just take stats with a pinch of salt. Yeah, you can get informed by data, I get that. And it can help your decision making, but it shouldn't drive and govern your decision making. You know, you've got to use that, you've got to use knowledge. And I know there's a big thing, a big push for artificial intelligence now, and there's a big drive towards everyone embracing it. I think in football terms, I still think 2 eyes is a very, very important tool to have, or important pair of tools to have.
Not quite ready for a computer to beat your team yet?
No, but yeah, we were laughing with one of the lads who plays the Super 6, and he was trying to get ChatGPT to pick his selections.
Did it work?
I'm not at liberty to say, but we have a little bit of fun on the coaching. He was getting ChatGPT, I think it is, to pick his scores. So
I'll have to ask him how they're going to get on Saturday.
yeah.
Cheers.
When there is the additional hype, or a better word, around the game, how difficult is it for a manager to get across to the players that he's just learned the game?
Well, I think, you know, because I think some of them will know the importance that will be attached to the game. Not that I'm putting the importance on, or I'm putting any pressure on anybody. But I think they'll understand that I was there a long time, and Jimmy was there a long time. And so they'll understand that, but you try to limit that as much as possible. I don't think that will have seeped through to our players. It might be different, you know, at Accrington, because some of our players are still there, you know. I think it's about 10 in the squad, or maybe 9 in the squad. So some of their players are there, and you know, we've brought to the club and we know them well. So I think possibly there might be a bit more noise there, but we've just got to get on with our job and try and do the best we possibly can.
And what do you think this new Irish defender you saw him do scored last weekend?
Yeah.
Which should have owned from day one,
He's a confident lad. As I said before, I think the defence has been quite solid. We've had a couple of blips, but you know, I think the defence has been quite solid, and we decided to go a certain way on Saturday. And as I said before, that was no disrespect to anybody. And certainly not singling out people for not playing well. But he's a bright lad in the dressing room, Conor. He's keen. you know, he proved last season he got an eye for a goal. And he, you know, he can't rest on his laurels, that's for sure. He was out on his feet last 5 minutes, which is understandable. But you know, we've got to have everybody who are ready whenever the call's upon, and that might mean players playing 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 90 minutes. But you've got to be ready, and you do that in training. You get your sharpness in training, and you continue. And you know, we're there to put on. You know, myself, Jimmy, Pete, Del, Jamal will put stuff on. Joe Dunn will put stuff on. So we're there to help them as best they can, get sharp. The players who are missing out on football, and it's up to them, you know, to take that opportunity to try and force their way into the team. And then, you know, as we've done with certain players, when they get a shirt, it's theirs to lose.
It certainly seems you've got more options now than you did have.
Yeah, we have, and you want more and more options as a manager. Sometimes it's difficult because you have to make awkward decisions. But it's always best to have too many to pick from than too few. And I've had both ends of that spectrum. And believe you me, it's harder when you haven't got enough. Thank you.
Thank you, John.